Semiconductors are the electronic brains of most of the devices you interact with in your life. Chips are in everything that you use today, whether it's your smartphone or your dishwasher, keep your toaster running, your car. They are the brains. About 40% of the growth in GDP in the developed world has come from improving the amount of information you can process, which really at its core comes from Moore's Law, your ability to do more computing on less dollars. Moore's Law was really about shrinking the transistor, making the transistor smaller. But Moore's Law is an exponent. Any exponent comes to an end, can't go on forever. And so now the industry is starting to look for other ways it can continue to bring more computing to the world at a lower price. The manufacturing complexity increases greatly, and that means you need more analytics and more ability to control the production using software, machine learning, and AI. PDF got started in the early 1990s when the US was at that time concerned about manufacturing and funded the research at a lot of the universities. We anticipated the transition to the contract manufacturer and what that meant in the way you use software to bring design to manufacturing. We've anticipated 3D processing in the wafer fab, 3D processing in the assembly facilities, and what that means from an analytics and data collection standpoint. Today we have something like 350 customers representing every segment of the chip industry, from the equipment companies that make the equipment that go into the factories, to the facilities that run the wafers, that test the wafers, that package the wafers, and to the product companies, whether they're called fabless chip companies or system companies that design the chips that go into the products you use today.
PDF Solutions provides advanced analytics and unique data to the semiconductor ecosystem. We provide the tools and the insight to collect data in the AI-driven analysis that allows them to bring new products, new processes to market at a much more rapid clip than they can on their own. But what we found is pulling that data together in a single database which can be aligned and analyzed has become much more complex. We developed the Exensio platform to combine data from across the semiconductor ecosystem into a single scalable database. From just manufacturing analytics, we've expanded into test operations and assembly operations. Today, people are moving to chiplets. They're moving to complex 3D integration. This requires spanning single factories into combining data across multiple factories and test points to get the overall truth, driving both the yield, the quality, and the manufacturing stability.
We could only make transistors so small. We were coming to the end of the ability to make them smaller. So now we're starting to go 3D. In other words, being able to stack chips on top of each other. So in that same volume of space, I get more transistors that way. Much like if you think about a city, you built a lot of houses and eventually you start building skyscrapers because you can put a lot more apartments in if you go up 50 floors.
We're dealing with new architectures, new integration schemes. We need to see the invisible. We've developed what we call our Design for Inspection system, which uses a very unique e-beam machine we call the eProbe system to understand the interaction between these advanced processes and these advanced products to get to market to accelerate the learning more rapidly.
Designs now are much more susceptible to what we call systematic defects. Defects, instead of appearing randomly over a chip, appear at very specific locations that we call hotspots. So we use our design analysis software, which couples with AI and pattern recognition, to find those precise locations where things are likely to fail.
Test chips are incredibly important for gathering the data that you need in order to make decisions, but product wafers are where you validate those decisions. The test structures were so small, you couldn't touch them with an electrical probe, but you could with an electron beam and analyze the response.
What the eProbe does is acts as a contactless electrical tester that goes to those precise hotspot locations. It scans the wafer at basically millions of nanometers per second. It measures these locations in tens of nanoseconds and billions of dots in 1 hour.
As a consulting company, we got cycles of learning that other companies couldn't get. That led to an understanding of technology and what is the right technology to build to do that job really well. A key learning when we did all of this was to integrate all available sources of data. We also realized that sometimes you don't have all the data that you need to do the job right. So sometimes you have to create your own source of data. It's all about system thinking. You can optimize every piece of that thread to make the entire thing be way better than a general purpose approach at each point.
In the past, innovation was driven by scaling transistor dimensions. Now we're evolving towards system technology co-optimization, so we're moving towards a world where we're doing more application-specific innovation. Companies specializing in software, hardware, and analytics tailored for the semiconductor industry are critical for providing capabilities for technology advancement and high-volume manufacturing.
The industry, for years, got to economic efficiency by driving the most amount of production capacity in the smallest geographic footprint possible. From a geopolitical standpoint, governments have gotten involved and they want manufacturing around the world. We're going to need to have lots of different kinds of designs running at many different volumes in lots of different geographic places. And we can't get there by just throwing human capital. We have to rethink the way we use software and the way we use AI to drive a whole new level of productivity in these facilities. And it's very possible because of the innovation and ingenuity in America on machine learning and AI. When you think about doing a chip design, it's basically writing code. Now we have things like Copilot where you can synthesize code. You can ask the computer to generate the more routine and mundane code parts. When you look at test, it in itself is also a program. And then when you look at the manufacturing side, factories generate gigabytes to terabytes of data every day. And there's always needles in that haystack. Humans can't pour through all that data and look for where the anomalies are. So using AI to comb through that data to find the needles in the haystack is, again, another place where AI will transform every aspect of the chip industry over the next 5 years. The efficiency that the human brain has is massively more than what we have in compute today. Setting a vision for the future is a way that can attract new people that are coming into the industry to go and look and say, wow, I want to be part of the team that figures out how to make computing and information processing as efficient and as productive as the human brain can, but at a scale that you can do with computers. It's been forecast the industry will do $1 trillion in revenue in 2030. It means more software, more analytics, new products that need to be tested, and that test data needs to be analyzed. And PDF is the backbone of data analytics for the industry. So the industry is able to bring up that capacity, run those products, because in the end, we get to $1 trillion in revenue if we can deliver value to the world at a price that the world's willing to pay.